get sick in the morning?
Yeah, that's weird, right?
It's not weird, Mommy. You're pregnant.
She admits to taking the life of at least one child every night.
Leave this vessel.
Testament of Solomon. You know Solomon from Songs of Solomon, King Solomon in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible? That's Solomon. In the Testament of Solomon, Abizu was described as having a greenish, gleaming face with this evil serpent-like hair, stating that the rest of her body is covered by darkness. Here, the Abizu says that she doesn't sleep, but wanders the world looking for a pregnant woman so she can cause them and their newborns pain and death. She also claimed to be the source of other illness, including deafness, eye troubles, illnesses of the throat, mental illnesses, and other bodily pains. Now, the Testament of Solomon, who is, like I said, King Solomon, it is a work of literature written about his accounts with demons. It tells of his demon activities and how to bind these demons and take dominion over them. If you've ever heard of the seal, if you've heard of the seal of Solomon's, which is common, especially if you're a practitioner of Santeria, Voodoo, Wicca, etc., even Christians know of the seals of Solomon, then you understand that this isn't a hoax. This is for real. This is a real thing. This is what the seals of Solomon are for and used for, binding demons and taking dominion over demons in the worlds around you. So in this testament about Abizu, Solomon orders that she be chained by her own hair and hung in front of the temple of Jerusalem as the way to bind her. I found this funny because this is also the way that Medusa's head has appeared across Greek temples and Jewish synagogues. So I suppose that's where other people got the relationships, but that she and Medusa were either the same or they had some type of connection as well. Let's talk about man who's been doing some stuff. Typhon. Typhon is a merman of Greek mythology and was a monstrous serpentine giant and known as one of the deadliest creatures in Greek mythology. His origins vary from being the son of Hera, who is the queen of heaven and the wife of Zeus, to stories of him being the child of Gaia and Tartarus, which is, Tartarus is actually the deep abyss and basically hell in Greek mythology. So with this, Typhon's origins would be that he is the son of Earth and hell, or Earth and the abyss here. was described as having 100 heads of snakes rising from his shoulders, having a flickering tongue like a serpent. Now here's one excerpt written by Hesiod that describes Typhon, and I quote, "Scrumph was with his hands, and all that he did, and the feet of the strong god were untiring. From his shoulders grew 100 heads of a snake, a fearful dragon with dark flickering tongues, and from under the brows of his eyes and his marvelous heads flashed fire, and fire burned from his heads as he glared. And there were voices in his dreadful heads, which uttered every kind of sound unspeakable. For at one time they made sounds such that the gods understood, but at another the noise of a bull bellowing a loud and proud ungovernable fury, and at another the sound of a lion relentless of heart, and at another sounds of whelps wonderful to hear, and again at another he would hiss, so that the high mountains re-echoed." Funny how his snake heads were called dreadful heads. Remember that when I do my video on Medusa, who I believe was really a beautiful black woman with dreadlocks. So Typhon's lover was Echidna. Echidna was a half woman, half snake, and together they bore several children. The most notable today would be the Sphinx. One of their children, named Hydra, was also born having many serpent heads that could regenerate if cut off, and was also known as a water monster who guarded the entrance to the underworld. Melusine. Melusine is a very, very prominent European mermaid who is typically depicted to have 2 fish tails or 2 serpent tails for a bottom, and I know you've seen her. Why? Because she is the Starbucks logo. Look at it again and you'll see. But Melusine is a freshwater mermaid in European folklore who married a human, but would transform into a mermaid once a week when she bathed. Now, Melusine and her husband had an agreement, and the agreement was basically that he would not ever enter her bathing chambers while she was bathing. But of course he did, and that is when he found out that she was a mermaid, and then she left him forever. Her husband is said to have been Count Siegfried of Ardennes, who founded Luxembourg in 963 AD. Count Siegfried is actually a real person. You can Google him. That is a real person. And I find this funny that he is the founder of Luxembourg, because didn't Finney the Elder mention before that he frequently saw mermaid corpse wash up on the shores of the land that is now present-day Luxembourg, but historically Gaul? Now, mind you that Finney the Elder lived and died between the years of 23 AD and 79 AD. So his sightings of these mermaids happened over 900 years prior to when Melusine was made a spectacle. So the story of Melusine inspired the story of Undine. Undine was a freshwater sprite who was immortal but has no soul unless she marries a human and bore him a child. So this is what she does. When she does this though, this causes her to start to age, and in return her husband cheats on her. She curses him and then returns to the water. The Undine story is important because this is what is said to have inspired The Little Mermaid, written by Hans Christian Andersen and later brought to the big screen near you.
Ariel, are you okay? If only I could make him understand. I just don't see things the way he does. I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad. I want to be where the people are.
You okay?
Tyler?
In Asian culture, there are mermaid-like creatures. Well, I shouldn't say like. Their mermaids are called Nagas.
Naga, in Indian mythology, a member of a semi-divine race, part human, part cobra in form, associated with water and sometimes with mystical initiation, or a member of a group of peoples living in or near the Naga Hills of Burma or Myanmar and northeastern India. Nagarajas are kings of Nagas. In Hinduism, the Nagas are guardians of treasures and often take on the form of being a full serpent, full human, or half human, half serpent. Vishnu and Shiva are two of the main gods in Hinduism, and they are often depicted being guarded by a Nagaraja. As you've seen, Nagarajas are commonly depicted as humans with one or more snake or dragon heads, extended from their shoulder over their heads. It kind of reminds you of Medusa? Maybe Typhon? No. Hydra. This image is a common theme throughout Asia. A commonly known Naga variant today is the Chinese dragon. The domain of Nagas is called Nagaloka, which is the seventh and the lowest region of Patala. Patala is the underworld. Now let's talk about Kundalini. Kundalini, noun, origin in Sanskrit literally meaning snake. A form of divine energy believed to be located at the base of the spine. It is an important concept in Saiva Tantra, where it is believed to be a force or power associated with the divine feminine. This energy, when cultivated and awakened through tantric practice, is believed to lead to spiritual liberation. In layman's terms, the divine feminine and the divine masculine are the two forces that need to be in balance for you to be in harmony as a being. Kundalini energy resides in the 7 focal points called chakras. Unblocking all 7 chakras brings on a Kundalini awakening. This concept may be familiar to you if you're familiar with martial arts, yoga, and even anime, where it's a popular theme. It is not unusual to see a 7-headed Nagaraja in front of temples in Asia. Each head of the Nagaraja represents the 7 chakras. If you look closely at these Nagarajas, you will see that where the heads connect, there is a symbol. The symbol will match the symbol of a certain chakra. Somatics is the study of visible sound and vibration. The sounds that make the visuals that represent each chakra are used as healing sounds, and they actually work. If you don't get where I'm going with this information, please check out this next clip from YouTuber Praveen Mahan.
How did ancient builders know about the rattle sound and its natural vibration, even though there is no such snake species in this country? Strangely enough, rattlesnakes themselves cannot hear the sound because they don't have ears. They can only feel the vibration. There's something very, very strange carved on these nagas. But when I digitally enhanced this image, I could see a brilliant pattern emerging. It is the visual representation of a certain frequency or sound. Today, we use a technology called cymatics. We are able to convert sound into visual patterns. We think this is modern technology, but ancient Hindu temples have used the same technology for thousands of years. Each temple is carved with a frequency chart on it. Is it possible that the Nagas are pointing us to a certain frequency or sound?
The interesting thing here is that there is a common theme of mermaids being associated with healing throughout different cultures. And the fact that mermaids can appear as full-on snakes is interesting because snakes are symbolic of our health industry here in America, where the caduceus is used as a symbol of medicine. The caduceus is a symbol featuring two snakes winding around a winged staff. It was traditionally used as a symbol of Hermes, the Greek god that is the protector of oracles, travelers, thieves, and merchants. But funny enough, the caduceus is mistakenly used as a symbol of medicine in modern times. In fact, the rod of Asclepius is the rod that is the more correct symbol. It features a rod and one serpent entwined with it. Asclepius is a Greek deity associated with healing and medicine, much like our mermaid. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, is said to have begun his career on the island of Kos at one of Asclepius' most famous healing temples. Now, in Asclepius' healing temples, non-venomous snakes called Asclepian snakes were used in healing rituals where they would crawl freely on the floor in areas where the sick and injured slept. But even more interesting is the fact that the original blueprints for the rod of Asclepius is traced to the Christian Bible's rod of Moses, derogatorily known as the Nehushtan, which is first mentioned in the book of Numbers in the Bible, and is said to have had a bronze serpent upon it, which God told Moses to use in order to protect the Israelites who saw it from dying from the bites of fiery serpents. This same rod also performed other miracles, such as producing water from a rock, transforming it into a snake, and then back into a rod again, and it was used in the parting of the Red Sea. Here, these serpents represent a duality of life and death. In the Bible here, they represent both the protection and destruction of a people. Here we see themes of mermaids, well, in serpent form at least, and water manipulation, as well as the same theme of shape-shifting that appears in other cultures.
With this staff, you shall do my wonders.
母が人魚を殺めたのは13の頃。そんな子供の過ちのため、私たちの故郷は10世代にわたりその代償を払い続けることに、そんなことになるとは知るはずもなかった。母はただ体に閉じ込められたまま、我が子たちが老いて死んでいくのを何百年にもわたり目にしてから命を絶ったのは、きっと重箱を解くためであったと。美しい故郷を私に見せるためだったのだと、そんな嘘を自分に言い聞かせている。
At the time, the okapi was considered a myth with only unproven sightings and speculations of its existence. It was the unicorn of Africa. But Through investigation and research, we find that there are truths to these legends. My current research explores the existence of undiscovered aquatic creatures, such as the Melusine, Undying, and in particular, the Nino. In front of you, I hold a portion of a map that points us to the region of the Nino's whereabouts. According to this Japanese myth, consumption of its flesh will grant remarkable longevity. However, its prolonged life is cursed, and the Nino itself is believed to harbor misfortune and ill omens.
And if you refuse, what then? You are a hunter. Hunt.
Nungyo. Nungyo is translated to mermaid, and they are fish-like creatures from Japanese folklore. They are described as having a monkey's mouth with small teeth like a fish, shining golden scales, and a quiet voice like a skylark or a flute. Devouring the Nungyo was said to bring longevity, although it bore consequences such as bad omens. One famous Japanese folklore involving Nungyo is the Yaobukini, which translates to 800 years. Basically, a fisherman of the Wakasa province in Japan caught an unusual fish and decided to serve it to his friends and let them sample the meat. After peeking in his kitchen while he was preparing their meal, they noticed the fish had a human face, and they all decided not to eat the fish and secretly wrapped their meals in paper and hid it in their clothing to be discarded later. One of them was drunk off sake and forgot to discard the serving of the mermaid. Instead, he gave it to his daughter as a present. When he snapped out of his drunken state and attempted to stop his daughter from eating the mermaid, it was too late. Nothing seemed to happen to her though, so after a while, he stopped worrying about it. Years passed, she got married, but as her husband aged, she did not. He eventually died and she remarried again and again, and then eventually became a traveling nun until she returned to her hometown, Wakasa, and ended her life at 800 years old. What's pretty cool about these Nangyos in Japan is that they actually have physical evidence of one at the Tencho Kyosha shrine in Fiji. Now, according to legend, this Nangyo appeared before a Japanese prince as he was about to die. He told the prince about how he became a Nangyo. Apparently, this Nangyo was once a fisherman and was cursed after trespassing into enchanted protected waters. He then requested that the prince build a shrine where his preserved remains would be displayed to all, so everyone who viewed his body would be reminded of the sanctity of life. And they actually have him in a glass display. It's pretty neat. And then in Chinese folklore, mermaids are capable of shedding pearls as tears. They also have the ability to knit a material as white as frost that was actually water resistant, which made them very valuable and actually hunted by fishermen. But these fishermen were not praised and instead were frowned upon, since mermaids were well respected and well revered for their grace and beauty.